afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Mpati Kwena, and I'm going to be immersing you and informing you about my learning styles. My chosen learning style or learning style of choice is logical learning. On this slide, I would like to define what logical learning style is. When an individual likes using their own thought processes or brain for logical problems and solving mathematical or science related concepts or questions, or when a person decides to work through problems systematically. The logical learning style is also named the mathematical learning style, which I find it a bit biased in a sense that it is not only helpful in terms of mathematical learning or science, it's also important in assisting a lot of people in different modules. For example, in OPV, I've used it to cover a lot of my work, especially during this predicament times of COVID, whereby school was not easy at all. I had to juggle hybrid learning as a first year student, and this logical learning style really came through for me. I found it to be really helpful and effective. Now, for the reason why I chose this logical learning style, it's because I'm naturally an introvert. I usually don't work well in groups. So, the first reason is I love working out things all by myself. It gives me a sort of challenge whereby I can test my limits and my intellectual capacity. The second reason is I can easily interpret and grasp visual information. I find it easy to grasp information, actually, no matter how complex or sophisticated it is. Then my third reason would be that I'm actually a critical thinker. I love thinking on my feet, and this logical learning style gave me the opportunity to just do that. Number 4 is because of the provision of statistics and facts. I usually spend a lot of time online reading up on current affairs, and which is why I chose the logical learning style. Now I will be discussing how this logic style of learning helped me during all this time in my OPV 122 module. It assisted me in keeping my records up to date, and in terms of deadlines, I planned ahead and was always well organized. So I usually prefer seeing what is talked about in terms of this style. I was struggling because of online learning. This form of hybrid learning nearly rendered my learning style to be a bit ineffective, but I adjusted it, and in the end it did come through. I ended up adapting and used it fruitfully. I've never missed my deadlines due to it. and it kept my records up to date. So I was never surprised, or I've never had way too much workload where I couldn't manage my, my assessments. In terms of the growth mindset, my logical learning style propelled me to work hard and reach the goals that I've set for myself, which was one of the goals I have in all my modules and not just OPV, is to make sure that I obtain marks that are always 75% and higher, because I am planning on getting distinctions in all of my modules as I did in my last semester. So that's how this style helps me. It keeps me driven in sorts of ways. It doesn't get me off track. It helps me set realistic goals, and considering the growth mindset academically, I have grown since using this style. More especially when it comes to our online badge activities in the OPV 122 module. It takes my mind out of the box actually. It stops me from having a programmed mindset. And this learning style of mine helps me set specific marks, as I've said, and it propels me to work hard in achieving those marks.